So anyway, I was saying that I had a beautiful weekend. I went and visited family, some of which I had not seen in many years. People flew in from other parts of the country. And, you're always a little nervous when you're going to see things, see people that you haven't seen in a while, especially siblings. And, we all have histories at this age. And I am really, last couple of years, have worked in my life, really being authentic and just being who I am and trying to make that the authority of my life. And so I don't subscribe to false authorities. And many times when we're in situations with people, we'll walk in a room and we'll try and act the way we need to act to fit in, or don't want to make confrontations or waves. So we'll act a certain way. And I don't do that anymore. I am absolutely Georgia Rose in every situation. This is who I am. What you see is what you get. And I'm just my authentic self. And I had no anxiety this weekend. I was so relaxed, really enjoyed everyone's company and observed the room and what was going on. And the funny thing is, my awareness changed so much that I really saw many things differently. And I learned quite a few lessons this weekend. And we're going to get to those during the broadcast. But let's see who else is on tonight. I know it's one of these nights here back east that you kind of just want to lay on the couch with a pillow and blanket or go to bed in your jammies at 7 o'clock because it's raging rain and windy and chilly out there today. Don't forget to set your clocks back this weekend. So we have massive energy lining up. And that massive energy is, hi Gina, that massive energy, hi Angelique, that massive energy is because Pluto and Saturn are going to be in a huge conjunction, which means they share the same space. Excuse me. Excuse me, I'm sorry, in January of 2020. So the energy is kind of, morphing up and lighting up, and it's getting really intense and really vibing higher and higher. And when that happens, we humans try and adjust to it. So a lot of us are kind of finding things happening in our life that are unexpected. We're finding things starting to really transform and transition a little bit rapidly. And it could be that things that have been kind of shifting a little bit over the last decade, now all of a sudden are coming in and closing up and zipping up and everything's coming into place. And there's a reason for that. We are being prepared. The next decade of our life is really going to be one where we are really stepping into soul purpose. It's going to be a decade where we are absolutely being our authentic self, coming into the purpose of our soul. And in order to do that, there's a lot of adjustment, clearing, and vibration that has to change in the world. So we call that an ascension. And the reason why it's called an ascension is because we are taking in more light. We're rising. Our vibration is rising. But in order to do that, we have to let go of heaviness. We have to let go of the darkness. Hi, Kathy. Love you so much. Kisses to you. Haven't seen you in so long. I've been watching your posts, and they're so like inspirational. You make me laugh every day. So we're going through this massive energy that's preparing us for this big conjunction of Pluto and Saturn that's coming January 2020. I think it's January 11th. So the world's vibing higher. And as the world does that, we start to vibe higher. And there's many people who resist that. And we resist that in many different ways. And I put a post up today about resisting. And if you're feeling depressed or heavy or cranky, or you're having physical symptoms, your body's processing the energy wrong. And I know there's, I hate to use a negative word because there's really no right or wrong. Nothing is ever wrong. We're going through the process we're supposed to. But I see a lot of spiritual healers and spiritual people who say, oh, well, the energy is really intense. That's why everyone has a headache. Well, the universe promotes life. It does not give us pain. So when we're in pain, that's a human experience. We're doing that because we're resisting, we're not flowing in alignment with the universe, or we're not processing something correctly, we're not seeing something. And the universe is giving us a headache or a toe ache or whatever it is, saying, knocking on our door and saying, hey, look over here, this is what you have to look at. Why are you feeling this way? So it's the root underneath that is really the cause, not just the energy. Now, yes, there are some times when we process energy and it can come in us very intensely, especially if our Kundalini is rising and things like that. But for the most part, it's the universe trying to get our attention is basically what it is. So 2020 is a year of transformation. 2019 is a year of transition. So in 2019, we saw a lot of things start to change, even our perceptions and our attitudes. And that's all to prepare us for the 2020 transformation that's coming in. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. This is change coming from within. And it's change that's changing our vibration of the way we look at things and our awareness. Just like I said, I went on this family reunion, and some of these people I hadn't seen for 6 years. And I was nervous about it because I kept thinking of the past. But the past is not my reality anymore. I have an awareness that's different than the awareness I had when certain events happened. So now when I think about the past, it's a different past. And that's how we change the past. People always say to me, well, you can't change the past. And I say, absolutely you can, because you change your perception of what it was. And we have the ability to do that minute by minute in every experience in our life. So I'll give you an example. Suppose you have a past trauma because you've been abandoned or you were rejected. And so you think of that in terms of that person, what they did to you. You have bitterness. You have, you're holding on to energy from that. And then all of a sudden, you start to think about it a different way. And you start to have an awareness of your responsibility and your part in that. And now you think something like, well, you know what? I can kind of understand how they could have to leave at that point or have to reject me at that point. The awareness changes, and now you change the past because your experience of it changes. And that's a lot of what 2019 has been about. It's about changing our awareness and our perception of the past in order to bring it forward to new transformative energy. And so how do we prepare for 2020 and that transformative energy? Well, the world doesn't dictate our life. We think that, unfortunately, erroneously so. We think that, this person wronged us and I'm upset and I'm hurt over that. And we watch the news and we see things and we're like, I'm having a bad day because I just saw something that really disturbed me. And we let the world dictate our life. But our life is dictated by only one authority. And that authority is our own inner being and our own inner peace. When you understand that and you start to really have an awareness of what that means, then we stop blaming the outside world for everything that happens to us. And we inevitably can create a life and live a life that is absolutely, totally authoritated by our being. And that's the way we have to prepare for 2020, because there's some big transformations coming in, folks, and big energy coming in. And if we are not our own authority in this energy, we're going to get reconditioned and conditioned and tossed all over the place. Because I think most of you will agree that we see so much more conditioning now in the world with the media and all the things that are going on there, so much more conditioning than we've ever seen before. I mean, we're being told everything, what to eat, what to wear. This is good. This isn't good. Oh, do this. You're going to have a happy life, to an extent now where we almost feel guilty if we don't partake of what the critical mass is telling us to partake of. And we can't let that happen. We have to be the own authority of our being, and that comes from within. Absolutely 1,000% comes from within. So that's the first thing about preparing for 2020 is we really, really have to make ourselves the authority of our life. And just like I have done work on that myself, and everything's always a work in progress, but what a different experience I had with my family of origin this weekend, because I've changed my awareness, and the world, the externals don't make my life. I make my life, and the awareness and the perception of my own being. Susan Gonzalez says, I've been trembling, I guess, since I'm hurt from my breakup since Saturday. Virgo me, Sag him. I want to tell you, Mercury is going into retrograde, and I don't want to make a specific comment for Susan because I don't know all of your, circumstance in detail. But we're going into a Mercury retrograde, and when Mercury retrograde starts to happen, it's going to happen on Halloween is the exact station retro. When that starts to happen, a lot of things happen that don't stick. So if you are going through a breakup or you just meet someone, give it time, because it may be back and forth before it actually ends or actually gels. And I don't want to give you false hope or upset you in any way, but I'm just saying, when breakups and and meetups happen on Mercury retrogrades, they're not really stable. They're not really stable, generally speaking. I will also tell you that right now, Susan, and I don't know your details, I'm going to speak in general terms, the amount of clearing that is going on in the world, and by clearing, I mean that transition and transformation that I just spoke about. If you haven't seen the beginning of the video, you can watch it back. The amount of energy that's coming in to transition us, to transform us, is tremendous. It's huge. So especially between now and the end of the year, you're going to see a lot of things happening. And, you know, I went through a lot of transition in my life in 2010, 2011, 2012, and now pretty stable life I have. I created a life that was stable. But what I want to tell you is whatever is happening in your life, and this isn't just for Susan, it's for all of us. Hi, Michael. Hi, Donna. Whatever is happening in your life, I know there's all these platitudes and things on Facebook about, oh, well, it wasn't meant to be, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm going to tell you is, again, make the awareness and the creation of your world from within. What happens a lot of times is we have sadness and we have pain amplified by the way we're conditioned by a society that wants us to conform. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is society tells us we're supposed to be paired. We're supposed to be in relationships. And while that's true where we do most of our learning, it also makes us feel guilty and awkward and odd when we're not paired. So a lot of times when a breakup occurs, it may not be as bad as we make it, but we make it worse because of all the externals that we add to it. So make yourself your own authority in the way that you look at the breakup from within inside you and be really honest and truthful about it. You know, when I had the major breakup of my life, which was a very long-term relationship with my ex-husband, I looked at a lot of things about myself. And as painful as that was, I mean, believe me, I was absolutely devastated, went through tremendous trauma from that. I also realized a lot of the trauma was because I just didn't want to be alone. I was used to being with someone for almost 20 years, and the thought of being alone was so unbelievable to me. That was a lot of my trauma. It wasn't that I didn't have him per se. It was that I never really lived alone. So really pull apart what your feeling is about. Because when you say, you know, you're trembling, that's fear. Fear of the unknown, whatever. So I just want to leave that out there for you guys because I don't want to get off too much on a tangent. But when you're facing something that's traumatic, be your own authority inside of you of what it means to you, and stop thinking about how it looks to the family, the friends, the neighbors, the people down the block, the people you do business with. Don't bring all that in, because they're not your authority. You are. Your heart and your soul and dealing with the emotions you have to deal with is the authority. The awareness of whatever is going on is where the growth, the healing, and the comfort and discomfort come from. So you can create your own experience through changing the awareness of what's going on with you. So that's what I want to say about that, because we have had so much transition. I'm just looking at more notes. Yeah, Michael. Yeah, that's it. And so we have had so much transition in 2019, preparing us for transformation. Transition and transformation are two different things. Transition is the people, places, things, and situations in our life. Transitions, it changes. Transformation is when we use all of that to transform from within and change the awareness of what our true authority of the creation of our life is. So I'm going to leave that right there. And that is absolute power, okay? Your awareness and changing your perception of the things that are going on for you and putting the blinders on and making that awareness solely in your being, solely in your beingness, with spirit, of course. That is spiritual mastery, that's self-mastery, and that is absolute ultimate power. When none of the conditioning, none of the media, no one else in your life is creating your emotion, when you are creating it in spirit and harmony with yourself and your higher self. One of the great things I think we can do in preparing for 2020 is, I know most of you meditate in some way out there, and a great way to prepare is meditation, but meditate and go into a meditation where you are communicating with your higher self. And by higher self, I mean the part of you that knows everything about your soul from the time of incarnation. Throughout many lifetimes, time doesn't really exist. So the past can be changed by your perception because it's happening right now somewhere. Everything is happening all at once in the multiverse, universe, cosmos, whatever you want to call it. So when you think about, there's a part of your being that's been through everything already. That's why you have intuition. That's why you have a hunch. That's why sometimes you know things. That's why I can communicate, and many people, I believe everyone really, can communicate with other realms and other sides. It's because we are all in an existence that is happening all at once. It is all. It is all. So when you realize that, you think about that, when you meditate, try and talk to that part of yourself that knows all, that's been you 500 years ago, that's you 200 years from now. And when you can communicate and look down at your higher self and have a discussion and really ask your higher self questions, like, what will my next decade bring? What is my soul purpose? What is my life purpose? You absolutely will get answers, because that beingness is an intrinsic part of who you are. It's an intrinsic part of your being. So it's in there. All the answers are within you, all of them. So that's a really great exercise to prepare for 2020, is to really try and meditate and speak to your higher self. So I want to get back to talking about the conditioning a little bit. And I want to tell you, if you don't believe that you create your world, and when you kind of put the blinders on and don't allow outside influences to create your world as much, if you don't believe you can do that, then you don't believe in your free will. And I know you all believe in free will, because I know you've all made choices in your life, some that you regret and some that you're so happy you did, because you have that free will. That's what makes us the miraculous beings that we are. So if you take that a step further and you believe in free will, then you can create your own world, because you choose with whatever your awareness is. I can give you a personal example. I actually wrote about it a few days ago on Facebook, getting back to this beautiful weekend that I had with my family. My brother and I had a falling out when my dad passed away. And, that happens a lot in families. And he was one of the closest people in my family to me. I always idolized my big brother. And, he's 10 years older than me. And he just was everything to me in my life. And so when we had this falling out, I really was grieving because he kind of cut me off. And so for years I held this grudge, and I had so much animosity, like, how could he do this to me, And things, we patched things up, but it didn't feel the same. And then recently I started to really think about the awareness, because as I said in the beginning of this video, I'm really on a trek in my life the last couple of years to be authentically me, and be me in every situation, every place I am, just truly be from my heart who Georgia Rose is, So I'm thinking about this, and then I came to the conclusion that he really didn't do me wrong. I think his reaction was very normal, because I never allowed him to see my authentic self. So when I became emotional and frightened and acted like a child during my dad's death at some point, he bolted, because he always knew me as this really strong, really no-nonsense, unemotional career person. And that was the sister he knew. So when I became this other person and had a little bit of a meltdown, it was almost normal that he would be like, I don't know how to deal with this. So when I changed my awareness, I was so relaxed to go to this family reunion. I had no feeling of, okay, there's going to be tension. There's going to be, what should I say to him? None of that. It was fine. It was absolutely fine, because I changed my awareness and I changed my past. So we can change anything through our awareness, and you can ask for your awareness, ask spirit to help you, angels, whatever you believe in. So you were born to be here at a specific time. There's a reason why you were incarnated in this life, right? There's a reason why you're here to experience 2019 and 2020, obviously, right? 2019, all the transitions, and 2020, all the awarenesses that are going to come to us. So think about that. And maybe the next time you have an introspection, you're walking by the lake or the beach or wherever, think about, why was I created at this time to experience certain things in my life? What were my lessons? And I think when you do that, that's also going to change your awareness. Once our awareness starts to change, we do sometimes have up and downs. Our emotions can get rather intense, because we are feeling things we haven't allowed ourselves to feel for a long time. And it's normal for emotions to go up and down. So just know that it's part of the contraction and the expansion of the awareness. as your awareness expands, other things contract. Um, for instance, if I use the same example with my brother and myself, our relationship now will expand. My feeling of him has expanded because now I don't have the negative, the heavy energy of feeling uncomfortable or awkward or density in that relationship. But at the same time, what has contracted is the past. And I realize that many of the memories I have with him, I really wasn't my true self. So that's a contraction and a sadness that I had. So you can see how when your awareness changes, there's a contraction and an expansion of it. Very interesting to go through those and let yourself flow through it, because there's lessons in both energy. And that gets me to the idea of density. And the more we expand, the lighter we become, the more optimism we attract in our life. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with the law of attraction. But I just want to take that a step further and talk about how our perception and stepping into the absolute power of controlling our awareness of situations and being open to that awareness, it changes our density. And by density, I mean when we're sad or angry or hurt, we feel heavy, right? It's like we're denser. Have you ever walked in a room and felt a person's energy and said, wow, they're heavy? It's because you feel a density, because negative emotions are dense. And so as we raise our perceptions and our awareness to be lighter and have a lightness of being, we attract more light energy in our life. And that's why when you are happy, you feel light, you feel lighter, you feel like jumping for joy, all the expressions you can think of. Negative emotions are heavy, they weigh us down, they make us in dis-ease. And light is obviously the answer and the emotion. And when we change our awareness, we get more light. Bonnie asks, is that the same as forgiving someone? Absolutely. If you can change your awareness, I'm fine, Angela, how are you? If you can change your awareness of a situation to be one of letting go and forgiving, it is so healing for you, and it raises your vibration and raises your energy as well. So that will bring more light into your life, more expansion into your life, more good things in your life. And that's how you create the life you love, is you let go of all that dense, heavy stuff. And I think we're going to see a lot of that accelerated from now until the end of the year, because again, I feel like it's preparing us for the energies that are coming in 2020. So just remember, the more you expand, the more optimism that you attract. It's almost like you get revived and you revisit things and you review things, and then you become lighter. So it's energy, right? Everything has an energy. Like I just said, when you're happy, you feel light. When you're sad, you feel heavy. How many people have been depressed and we feel, I can't even get out of this bed? Yeah, because it's heavy. It's dense energy. You're in a different awareness state, and awareness states have a density. So when you're happy, you're light. So energy is everything, and everything is awareness. If you think about it, right? If energy is all, right? The universe, the cosmos, the planets, you as a human, all the people around you, the things you take in, your five senses, it all brings you an awareness, right? So that means that all is an awareness. So if we have a consciousness based in awareness, then the way we perceive everything relates to the exact way that we are being, correct? So I hope you're all staying with me. So as we go into 2020, that's what we have to work on, is changing our perception of all, changing our awareness of all. You know, someone comes in and says something to you and you're like, well, gee, why did they say that? They must be jealous, or they must be, hate me, or they must, have a problem. They have a grudge against me. Well, maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe they're the type of person who has no awareness themselves and doesn't realize what they say. When you change the awareness of everything that goes on in your life, now you are the authority of the way that you deal with everything. You become the authority of your own being. And that's how you create the life you love. And that's how you create the energy that's going to bring you all the optimism you can handle for 2020. So really work through those dense energies. Don't let them really sit with you and be part of your life. Clear them and do the work, do the forgiveness. You have to understand that your awareness is your perception, it's your beliefs, It's the impressions you have. It's your knowledge, right? Seek knowledge, watch influencers, watch my videos, watch other people, whether it's Pima Chodron or Kepacha, who's an amazing astrologer, or there's so many out there. I mean, Joel Osteen, anybody, but watch for your knowledge, your wisdom. Everything has a vibration of itself. Everything in the world is energy and has a vibration that immediately goes into your awareness. So just kind of try to slow down and really think about what you're putting in your awareness and how it affects you, and what really is your awareness. I know I work with a lot of cancer patients, and when they first go into the disease, they have a certain awareness and they're in very heavy energy. And as we do Reiki and we do healing and we do things, their awareness changes. And I'm going to tell you, I'm actually writing a book about this. You will see the amount of people who are healed or on their way to recovery and healing based on their level of awareness. It's the people who stay in the density and the negative that have a more prolonged, I feel, recovery and more prolonged illness. Once someone changes their awareness and raises their vibration up, the healing that occurs starts to become miraculous, just miraculous. So remember, energy is light, and light has a vibrational frequency. So remember, try to keep yourself out of those low levels of density. That's going to be super, super important from now until the end of the year. And I'm just looking at my notes. I'm sorry if I'm looking down. Yeah, so you want to create a different state of being. You want to create a different state of awareness. Another way to really do that is to go out in nature. And I know I say this a lot, but I have to tell you, when I first faced a lot of density and a lot of tragedy in my life, and still if I have a challenging situation, I go back to nature. I have my favorite spots, the lighthouse where I live, or certain nature hikes I do. When I was really in a very dense place, I would go out and walk with my dog for hours. I would hike all kinds of places and stuff, because it made me feel better. Just to be out in nature, feel my feet on the ground. It raises our vibration. I always feel like nature is God's palette. And when we see incredible things, whether it's a sunrise or a sunset or the snow on the ground, I remember walking through a state park in a snowfall with my dog, and it was one of the most beautiful, just thinking of it now, I could cry. It was one of the most beautiful things that I ever did in my life. I had an iPod in my ears and I was playing music, and it was just, it was Neil Young, and it was just real mellow, and it was like everything was so silent, and the snow and my dog, and it was just a spiritual experience, like just to hear my dog's panting and see his breath in the condensation and know what life looked like in the breath. And I'm going on about it, but that's the simplest thing in the world, can become such an awareness if you just slow down a little bit and become aware of what you're taking into your being. And that's how you create a life. That's how you create a life. It's not, on the showroom floor picking out the new car. So, although those things are nice, right? So remember that. And then this is what I'm going to leave you all with, and then we'll take questions or whatever. We're all going through this in one way or another. Even the people around you that are maybe feeling very dense to you, and you don't really think they're having any kind of awakening or any kind of spiritual vibration or any transition, they are. They may just be resisting it. I can't really say. But all of us are being touched by this energy. And because of that, I had put something up post recently about light versus dark and how light is winning. And I truly believe that, because in my day-to-day little corner of the world, I see so much light in the world, and people are just changing their lives to step into purpose and help people in every way possible, and just really be in service to the world. And as we do that, something really important is going to happen. And that's what all this is leading up to in the next decade. In a nutshell, it's the critical mass is vibrating higher. And by critical mass, we mean the masses in the world. Our energy as human beings is accelerating. It is increasing. It is vibing. So if you go back to what we were saying before about that everything has a vibration and that we all feed off that vibration, as we all become lighter and lighter and vibe higher energy, everything in the world vibes higher. And that's why we're going through all the transition, because our soul purpose and our lives are going to start matching a much higher vibration of consciousness, awareness in the world. And that's really where we're at. And that's what this next decade is going to bring in for us. So do the work, guys. Do the work. Clear what you have to clear. Don't be afraid. Whatever is happening in your life is not happening to you. It's happening for you so that you can go to a much higher level of ascension, vibration, happiness, and joy in your life. If something is being cleared, it's done. Let it go. There's something so much more beautiful that will go into that space. I truly believe that. So the earth is going to vibrate to match the awareness and the consciousness of the people in it. So as we vibe high and light comes in more and more, the earth is going to start vibrating faster. And that's why sometimes we do have aches and pains, or we do have headaches. And you'll see on Facebook, everyone's complaining about the same symptoms. It's not viral. It's a response to it's the human body's response to energy and the way we process it. So change the awareness and you'll change the experience, because the way you bring energy into your being is your consciousness, your awareness. That is the only thing that determines your experience and your reality. And you alone have control over that. Not the nightly news, not the music you listen to, not anything that's external. You are in control of all the external. So you create your life. And that's what you have to remember the next 63 days, I think we have, until the new decade comes. So definitely write down your things you want to manifest and your goals for 2020. So if anybody has questions, comments, things they want to say, I will be glad to chat with you. So just ask me right now and I'll tell you what I think. Also, just want to let you guys know that Mercury is going retrograde on Halloween. It will be retrograde, I think, till December 10th. November 30th, I want to say. I got to look it up. When Mercury is retrograde, it doesn't mean anything other than be very careful in the decisions you make. Don't get tattoos, because you'll be at the tattoo removal place. That is one thing I will tell you right now. Don't do anything drastic with your appearance during a Mercury retrograde, because you'll regret it. You want to undo it. And what Mercury retrograde does is it just slows down things a little bit so that we have the chance to do them right. It wants us to be more pensive and more thought conscious and aware of the things that we are doing in our lives so that we don't have to do them over. And that's really all it means when a planet goes retrograde, is it wants you to slow down that particular energy. Mercury is our mind, our cognitive thoughts. So that's why things get glitchy, because we're always in a rush, and Mercury wants us to slow down. So does anybody have anything that they'd like to say? Hi, Rich. Hi, Colleen, Ann, Angela, Bonnie. I hope everything's going good with you. Donna, Joanne, Nancy, how you doing? Anybody have anything they want to chime in and ask me? I will try to answer for you guys. No, everybody's quiet tonight? Then I'm going to sign off in a few minutes. I try to keep these videos to about a half hour or so. So I'm just going to go back and see if anybody, hi, Michael. I have two Michaels here tonight. If anybody had anything else that they wanted to just chime in and say. And Susan, I'm sending you energy. I'm just going to end with a little bit of a energy link and some meditation. Okay, so I want to send you guys out some energy tonight. I'm going to go into violet light. So if you all want to close your eyes or just picture violet light in front of you, I'd like to send you the energy of triumph and transformation for any transitions that you are going through tonight. I'm just going to bring my energy down a little bit and just send you all the triumph of over any transitions that you're going through and clearing any energies that need to be cleared. Please trust that the universe is much more wise and loving than we are. And that whatever is happening, whatever transitions you're going through, please try to embrace them. And I'm sending you the energy of triumph and healing. And may we send that out to anyone in the world who can benefit from that practice tonight. Thank you so much. I love each and every one of you. This is the energy I source my life from. And I will ask you all to please go on Babylon Breast Cancer Coalition and buy tickets. I don't usually ask people to do things like this, but this benefit is for them. They've been a tremendous, tremendous help to so many people in our community. And I am doing a benefit for them on November 7th, Thursday evening at the Bergen Point Country Club. It'll be a gallery reading and a healing meditation. So please come out and join me that evening. I would love to give you the benefit of my energy. We have one more question. Beth is saying, I have a question, having trouble with my 50-year-old son. He's sensitive Children that are sensitive, I feel like they're getting energy and they're not able to process it. So I really feel like it's important with especially teenagers. And for some reason, it seems to many times be teenage girls more than boys. But I don't know why that is. I just see that more. But I would strongly suggest, Beth, that you find either, and it's hard when they're 15 because they don't always want to do what you want them to do, right? But if you could find a yoga or a group like community like that for him, it would really help, because I think that they tend to internalize a lot of the energy and they need the outlet. And also really, really important, you know, a lot of kids today I find are going into a counterculture. And there's nothing wrong with that if it's authentic, but I feel like there's a lot of counterculture stuff that goes on, and the message is, well, we don't fit in. And I don't think that's a good message for anybody who's in their formative years. So, you know, if you find that him going into a counterculture of non-conforming type of things just to non-conform, I would kind of try to pull back on that and let him be part of a community where he does have things in common with someone and people and spirituality or anything that he's really interested in. Also, I would bring him to an energy healer if he'll go. You know, there's shamans and people who do specialize in adolescence. And I think it's really important for him to just know that the energy he's feeling, if he is feeling energy, especially from other places, you know, other densities, other realms, that it's okay, that a lot of people do that, and that he has just been gifted with this calling. All right. And I'm just going to send the energy out to everyone that needs it. And we're going to send some out to Beth's son tonight, and anybody else. I'll include you in my healing circles. And I don't want to go off on a tangent about kids today. I feel a generation gap for the first time in my life, but I do see more what they call indigo or gifted children as far as the spiritual realms go. And I think that's just a response to the fact that the critical mass in the world is vibrating so much higher than we used to. So really important that children like that feel like they're not out of the norm. Because like I said, a lot of the counterculture is just to be rebellious for no reason. And I just think that's going down a wrong path. So thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. And again, this is the energy I source my life from. And I really love doing these videos. I hope that they help you all. And please, you know, send me a little message, you know, give me a little review now and again. I want to make sure that our community of Zenkuda really gives you all the energy that you want. And I'm sending that out to you all tonight. So just, I hope you're feeling violet light all around you. Violet light is the highest vibration on the spectrum of light, and it's what I usually use to heal. So have a great night, and please do check out my event on November 7th. I'd love to see you all there. It's going to be great to have all that energy in the room, and it's going to be a lot of energy. So it'll be great. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys all soon. Okay? Bye-bye. Good night.